So, Guitar Center is filing for bankruptcy. It is official. Chapter 11 is happening November 15th.
Yes.
This year.
That's true.
This is now we've reported a lot on the ups and downs of our big box stores out in the world. This is kind of a bummer for the big box there. Doesn't mean it's the end necessarily.
Right.
But we're going to sort of break it down, but it very possibly could be this time. We're not looking. It's definitely the beginning of the end.
It doesn't look good. It's not a good.
This is not like the last time.
Right.
So they have to restructure about $1.4 billion in liabilities. That's what
With a
guitars.
billion?
That's about like what everything's sort of worth. That's their liabilities and negotiated leases.
Okay.
There's 297 guitar centers and about 200 plus music and arts.
Wow.
So and then the Musician's Friend is also under this umbrella.
Right.
They just missed their $45 million interest payment on October 12th of this year, and that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
That's a big. They've been paying their interest payments. This is on their debt that they have outstanding. They have a lot of debt, and a lot of people will talk back to Bain Capital's takeover in 2007 before the economic crash.
Right.
This is not the only reason. We'll get into other reasons why. This is the second time Guitar Center has declared bankruptcy since then, though. It was in 2013.
Right.
When they did this before, and they did restructuring. And Moody's, which is sort of Moody's is a financial service that rates every business pretty much. They have downgraded Guitar Center consistently throughout the years, and now they have labeled it untenable as a business structure, which is not positive.
Not a good thing.
The GC execs, the guys that don't actually work in the store, the ones that we care about, the execs right now are hoping to do a debt for equity swap.
Okay.
Which means, hey, like we're going to give you ownership of this company if you'll relieve some of this debt that we can't pay because they can't pay for it right now. And so they're trying to transfer that to their bondholders. Bondholders are pretty much guys that like own a note on you.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, it's your loan shark. It's like a legal loan sharks. Invest in bonds right now. It's going to pay off pretty well for you if you have certain ones. But this is a tough. So, and this is just the troubles. Then we're getting like sort of what they can do to get out of it.
Right.
And
if
they can get out of it, and like sort of what's really happening. So GC owes about $375 million to their manufacturers and their landlords right now, and they're trying to get that all restructured in this new financial settlement too, which is Chapter 11. So things aren't really.
That doesn't sound good at all.
It's not. No, it's not good. It's like a serious issue. It's I mean, you worked at Guitar Center.
Well, and it's funny hearing you say all those things because I don't know if I really realized it was that serious because we've been hearing rumblings of this for years, and I mean, like you said, they filed for bankruptcy before, they restructured, things pretty much carried on as normal.
And right, when you work there, it's like you go to your job, you do your job. We'll get into sort of how that's transformed over the past few years, but it has all the official numbers are starting to come out now, and you can find all these are all sourced on all sorts of sources online at the moment. But it's not good at all. It's like it's much more dire than they sort of put out there. We know from talking to our manufacturers, the people that make guitars and pedals that we've talked about before, like they are seriously in debt to them too.
Yeah.
And that's, $375 million is not, I mean, imagine having that on your credit card statement.
Good Lord. Oh, God. Sweating just thinking about it.
It is. Yeah. And they have to keep buying more because
right.
It's, so what led to this within the Guitar Center universe besides the easy trope of saying Bain Capital's buyout in 2007 when they were expanding and they bought it for too much, and then 2008 economic collapse happened. But it's been a long time since then.
It has. It's not like that was.
It's over a decade. If you can't turn your business around in a decade, I have serious questions.
Probably not looking good.
So let's first talk about Musician's Friend.
I think they thought that was going to help them, right?
I think we all thought it would.
Sure, but it's actually hurt them.
It's been sort of an anchor.
Right.
So they took on Musician's Friend, which was a great mail order catalog type.
I remember looking at the Musician's Friend as like, I want all and I would circle, the things that I had to have.
Mom.
Yeah, right.
Then you get the starter kit from Walmart.
Yeah.
Very disappointing.
Right.
Musician's Friend.
That was awesome.
Yeah, they thought it was going to bolster their sales. Instead, it really, in a time when everybody else's online platforms like Sweetwater and Amazon's become a behemoth, but Sweetwater is the monster, and they're a wonderful business structure, great company, great corporate people to work with too.
Right.
But then all these great indies like Chicago Music Exchange, Wildwood, Will Cuts, like I'm gonna say Casino Guitars, like we have sort of had a fantastic time selling guitars in this this past like period of when Guitar Centers had the woes of woes, and so it's a little bit confusing to my brain there, like because they just. I look at Musician's Friend. Why didn't they just do Guitar Center website?
Well, it's weird because they were making this really long transition to having a GC.com.
Right.
But they never really got it to like where it was modern and user friendly.
It's a terrible website.
It's horrible, and I mean,
website.
There's all the. I mean, for as much as we love sort of like scouring the used GC stuff,
My wife's all like, "Stop looking at guitars.
Stop doing it. Why are you
shop.
looking at guitars right now? It's midnight. Go to bed." But yeah, it happens a lot, almost every night. It was weird because like there'd be dudes in the accessories department, especially their job to take the pictures. Put them up on GC.
That's not good.
Well, sometimes it is. Sometimes they're great, but usually it's like a picture and the guitar's hanging against the sheet and there's no description and there's no nothing and it's like
that's exactly
why is
what
that knob broken? I can't really tell. Is it broken?
Why didn't you polish it or just like? I mean, that's where like the consumer base has changed and transformed dramatically since those days of I mean, Guitar Center started in a place that's like smaller than our guitar shop. Right. They started off like, and they've grown this behemoth. And like, I respect the heck out of that.
Sure.
Sweetwater started out of his trunk of his car, and became the behemoth he is. And
his little van is inside Sweetwater now that he started.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Which is great.
Everybody go there.
Mobile recording, selling strings and drumsticks. It's awesome.
Another thing as they were sort of suffering, this is what execs do all the time. They trim operating costs.
Right.
And they also restructured the bonus pay.
Yep.
And the paying and the hour systems upon the employees, which clobbered morale.
Yeah.
You worked there during sort of the decent times, sort of, but it was...
some of the transitions were happening while I was there, and I was outside of it, because I've told you my story before, where I was just sort of like doing random things in the warehouse, and as far as the like...
you just like
the inventory stuff.
You could do your own thing.
Somehow I ended up like in the system, but outside of the system. I'm still not sure why that happened or how that happened, but I mean, it was awesome. But I had this really weird sort of front row seat to all the strangeness.
And like we've had some of our dear friends that work in other industries now within the guitar business, but they have these great websites like Adventures with them and everything, but they were at GC during the real heyday.
Yes.
Like sort of during that 80s and 90s when it was just slamming. And it was the dreamland.
It was awesome.
Like I used to go there, Dream Factory. Oh my God, there's guitars everywhere. They're having fun working there.
You'd never seen anything like that,
They're
right?
Partying.
It was just, right.
It's like Virgin. There's like a slush fund for like illegal things.
Things to happen.
It was like Virgin Megastore, no, Tower Records in New York. It was kind of like that. It was just like the stories I've heard, like, man, what a cool time. And like, but that did change dramatically as time went on, and that's not necessarily just GC's fault. It's also just things change.
It kind of begs the question: is the whole model of GC, is it just outdated? Does it need to?
That's a big sort of
go away.
And I used to think, there's a lot of articles I'm reading right now that are saying, this can be a huge loss for the music industry if Guitar Center goes away. I don't necessarily believe that anymore.
I know we used to kind of think that, right?
100%.
We've talked about it, but it's the more we look at it, the only loss that I see that I feel bad about is all the guys at the local level, sort of under district managers down, who they're left sort of holding back.
Well, yeah, they're going to be hurt at first, but I think my hopes from this is that you're going to have a resurgence in the online stores that are already there. Not just online; it's going to shift a lot online, but also the brick and mortar independents
will start to come back. You think?
Well, some new ones will spawn,
right?
But then you'll have some of the ones that are already there grow a bit,
sure,
and sort of take on people,
right?
You'll see, Chicago Music Exchange is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No,
They've got
definitely
a great
not.
business model.
Yep.
Wildwood just keeps killing it.
Right.
And like we send customers there every day.
All
for
the time.
Things. Literally a customer a day will call. Like, we don't carry that.
Wildwood,
call these guys.
Wildwood. Yeah.
They're amazing. There's great places in Jersey, Russo Music, Sims Music, like Tobias Music out.
All kinds of places we dig.
Yeah. All of them. And then there's going to be more of those. Like these guys from GC, like that's who opens up guitar stores.
Right. That's true.
And we can't blame everything on just the world out. Don't get me wrong, COVID had a huge hammering effect on GC this year. They weren't prepared.
No, and I feel like it just accelerated maybe the inevitable. It didn't necessarily cause it, but it definitely pushed everything over the edge.
It's done that for a lot of businesses, unfortunately. It's killed a lot that shouldn't have died, but GC is one of those that has to rethink the entire thing or go away. And COVID, it killed the music and arts program, which was their lessons program and their band rentals. And because you can't have, and then the Guitar Center teaching lessons were just slaughtered. And they were still trying to develop those and all those teachers. And the pay structure there is insane anyway. That's another video. Go back and watch it. But what we're hoping is, again, like this will be a resurgence of new shops coming up.
Yep.
And it's not going to be the end of like the fairy tale end, because this is how it used to be before there was the dominance of GC.
There were little shops all over the place.
And they were great little shops, like the ones from the 50s and 60s. You look at the pictures, they had every Fender and Gibson you could dream of in a small footprint.
In a small shop.
It didn't have every keyboard, every drum, every knick-knack you could possibly get. But honestly, for some of these superfluous type things like the cables, that's what online is great for.
It is. It's true.
You don't need to go to a store and like, which cable do I want more? Like that's an online grab, and that's okay.
You saying that about the 50s and 60s reminds me, somebody commented on one of our videos that a great guitar shop was like a barbershop back in the day. It makes me think of Floyd's barbershop and the Andy Griffith show.
Think about that.
People hanging out, talking, them. You can ask them and know you're getting their real opinion. There's a relationship there. And I think that's, maybe if that comes back, that'll be a great thing.
I hope so. Yeah. I think it is, because like we've seen, let's just talk about this year in general. It's been a crazy year. 2020, it's the great shit show of, excuse my language, of our time.
Right.
But it has been the largest guitar selling year in the history of musical instruments.
Which just blows my mind.
In the history. And we have done extremely well. All of my friends that have shops and work at shops have done extremely well. Guitar Center has done extremely poorly. So it's a model, like it's a lot of these other big massive shops like JCPenney's and Sears. Right. They've been around for 50 years. They're plus, and they're going away.
Yeah, the one in my little town is.
It's going away. Remember Roses? That's gone. And then even shops that are still here, like the restructuring. I used to remember going to Best Buy all the time and loving it.
Right.
I don't go to Best Buy anymore.
No, you just go get online.
Even before COVID, I just want to buy a TV. I'm going to buy a TV. It's not a thing I have to tactilely touch.
Right.
In Bed Bath & Beyond, just like I never wanted to go there. And like I definitely don't now that I can order anything I need from that. Like, and I don't need any of that stuff, but it's just models that don't need to exist. The best year of guitar sales ever, and our biggest retailer is suffering.
Filing bankruptcy.
So Jonathan, what I think is going to have to happen with GC is there's going to be massive store closings.
Yeah.
That is sort of they're going to have to do massive store closings. They're going to have to restructure all of their debt with their, the landlords that they can keep in operation with, and with their manufacturers.
Because there are how many stores now? 297. 97. I mean, when you go to one, if the one near you is the one with no guitars on the wall, when you go in, there's been nothing all year.
Well, and that's the thing too I want to get into is like the shopping experience at GC during COVID has been a horror show.
It's been rough.
Like we've had our guys go there and like you have to wait in line, get tested. We're cool with that. That's
sure,
awesome.
Of course, that's part of it.
But then you cannot go there unless you have something specific you want to buy.
Right.
And they funnel you in to go to that section, like the string section. Here's the strings. This is what I want. You get out. You can't play any guitars. You can't look at guitars. You can't plug anything in. It's not. I don't know what the thought process was there.
It's really hard to run a guitar shop that way,
And when there's no guitars on the walls, too, because manufacturers are shut down, but also they haven't paid their manufacturers. So it's
I imagine that puts them down the list a little bit when people are trying to catch up with production. That can't speak favorably,
Right, it's a killer for like these guys that make guitars too, because like it's not these big companies. They have to be able to pay the people that build the guitars. Right. And there's not this like superfluous amount of money just to back there for them too. Like they don't just make money like our government does.
Yeah.
So I think we're looking at some serious store closings after this is restructured. Yeah. Any of the ones that are underperforming.
Right. It's probably true.
So that's kind of my thoughts there.
Man.
So let us know if you've heard any more news on it. We have lots of people from GC that call us and shoot us emails afterwards. We love hearing from you.
Which we appreciate, yeah.
And any corrections that we've made mistakes on, we never make mistakes, though.
Us? No. Our research is impeccable.
I mean, it's pretty good. We have pretty good research.
We've gotten better, and we do well, but we've learned.
No, it's good.
It's a learning process.
But no, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Sorry, I got choked up. Your thoughts and anything else you have on this subject. We're sorry to report on. We're not like, it's not a happy thing, but it's something that's important and it affects all of us. Big deal. We've grown up with this institution. And it's an institution that might be morphing.
Right. All right.
That's what I got.
There you go. Click like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you don't miss any videos about these kind of things in the future. Thanks so much for watching and hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.